Hello,
Hello.
people.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, yeah.
Good. I'm recording this. I've never tried that before. I don't know. Anybody ever recorded a Zoom before? Where does it go once the call's over?
I think there's like some file it creates in there's like a cloud file that it
Oh,
creates
so it's
somewhere.
not on my computer then at the end of the meeting? It's like I get a link or
It,
something.
it should be. You should have some option to save it or convert it to some format.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
We'll do some discovery learning together there, Luke.
Yeah. Yeah. I learn new things all the time.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. Appreciate you having us with this, man, gathering this up. This is awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. What does your imitate your light will flash before your eyes? Something worth watching?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I figure we're gonna have more people joining us kind of late-ish, just based on the feedback I got. But I don't want to waste people's time / sit here forever. So, and also, like, I don't feel like this call is a prerequisite to getting started. So I figure to keep things interesting, why don't we go through and do introductions first? Because why not? So how can I see a list of people? That's not going to shift around. Speaker gallery. Gallery's better. Okay, Devin, why don't we start with you? Maybe just keep it short. Tell us how much you've been learning software, tech stack, how you got started on the path to software development.
All right, everyone. So my name is Devin. I'm based in Trinidad and Tobago. Been coding and trying to transition to software for about 2.5 years now. Coming from a background in healthcare, actually a dentist, looking to transition into software. I think I just felt very burnt out, and software was a very appealing field, and that's how I got started.
Cool. Rachel?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Rachel Chaman. I've been dabbling in coding stuff for many years now, but only the past year has it become legitimate. Also a career switcher. I was working as a sign language interpreter before. Yeah, about a year of legit coding now. I just got out of, well, in February, finished Codesmith's advanced software engineering residency boot camp. Yeah, and I'm looking for a job now and excited to work on some projects.
Cool. Kevin?
Hi, everybody. So I started on this road about 1.5 years ago. I have a background in theater and music. Believe it or not, I was a puppeteer for many years. As I started to get older, that led me to, I started to search for a more stable income. And I became a certified elementary school teacher. And after a year, realized I don't want to do this. But that year was during COVID. And so I got introduced to all of these really interesting online learning platforms. And I started thinking about how do these things work? And so I got really curious about that. And I enrolled in the full stack development boot camp at the University of Texas, which is administered by 2U. So I graduated from that program in July. I'm now working as a teaching assistant for that program. I'm on my second cohort as a TA. Now I've done a little bit of freelance work, but I have not yet been able to break in with my first full-time gig. So I'm excited to meet y'all and see what this may turn into.
Right on. Thanks, Kevin. Is it Donya? How do you say that?
Doina.
Donya. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Doina, coming from Moldova, a small country in Europe. yeah, in 2022, I completed the front-end developer track at Skill Crush. So yeah, since June, I've been applying to jobs, but yeah, I'm still applying for jobs. So I'm really excited to meet you all. So about a little bit about my background, I degreed in social work, and I had kind of a small business. Um, so I ordered clothes, delivered them here in my city. So it was a very funny time. So yeah, and excited to be here with you all.
Cool. What was the small business?
Well, it was, ordering clothes from United States and selling them here in my city, clothes for kids. So I wore many hats. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like small business experience, like having started your own, not just working in a small business, and then marketing are some of those skills outside of software that are really important in this kind of situation. So that's cool. Anne.
My turn in the hot seat. Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Anne, and I've been working in healthcare for the last 30 years. And most recently working in the pathology laboratory at a small local hospital that's part of a larger health system in the state of Massachusetts. After all of these years of using various types of programs and having good and bad user experiences with said program, I decided to take the plunge. I want to get more into back-end programming for these things. My concern has always been the usability and focusing on what the users need, which a lot of these programs don't really do, unfortunately. So that's the reason that I'm transitioning from healthcare to IT. I've always been a helper. So this is going to allow me to broaden my range of the amount of people that I can help in a day. In a hospital, you're limited to what you have, maybe 50 to 100 people in a day. If I'm developing software that thousands of people are using to help thousands of more people to use, then I've just broadened my reach, and that's what I'm looking for. So,
Yeah, and I feel like, with that much experience in an industry, like if your team were to decide to build something, from your experience, that gives you a huge edge, I think. And like, one, knowing what is something that's actually going to help, how do I make it so that it's actually helpful to those people, and like something that would provide value so people would be willing to pay for it, all those things. So thank you. All right, Chris.
thank you.
Oh, you're muted still.
Can you hear me now? Nice one, cool. Yeah, so my name's Chris. I'm based in the UK. It's nice to meet you all. So I've been on this path for about 4 years. So like a lot of you, and it's kind of nice to kind of see how many of you are also, a lot of us seem to be in the same kind of camp, which is, a career change after having done something for a little while. And the same is true with myself. So I used to work in process improvement and robotic process automation, which is kind of what kind of got me interested in software in the first place. So yeah, I started sort of teaching myself through things like Udemy and things like that about 4 years ago, and just graduated in March. I graduated my master's degree in software engineering, which was something I was really happy to do because I didn't have like the undergrad experience or anything like that in it. So yeah, I'm pleased to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Right on. Thanks, Chris. PM. Wait, and I know you. I know PM.
Hey, yes. Hey, Luke. We've spoken a few times before. Good to meet everybody else on the team here. So I'm Payam, and my background actually is a little bit more traditional than most, but not entirely. I have a CS degree, but after college, I started with the QA at a self-driving car company. So, you know, I was interested in transportation, still am, and so I got my start with that. But I did that for a couple years, and I don't know, that was kind of limiting. I always wanted to be a software developer, and so I kind of started a long career transition from that about a year or two ago. So since then I've been doing freelance web development, but you know, looking to, I don't know, start my own thing. That's why I'm here, looking to do something that's a little bit more stable. Ultimately, you know, at some point looking for a full-time role, but you know, I've been working with the standard web technologies of the day, and I'm here to contribute anything I can.
All right. Thanks. And I mispronounced your name. I've all those calls we've had, and yeah, anyway.
No worries.
Greg. I don't know if you're saying anything, Greg, but you're on mute if you are. There you go.
Oh man, I'm just sitting here working with technology, right? So yeah, spent 25 years in the US Navy moving airplanes on flight decks. Complicated, complex, realized that I like to solve complex problems. Retired from the Navy and started to find my way back to home, which everybody I think defines a little differently. So I think that I've settled enough to figure out what home is, and in that transition figured out I like to try and simplify complex problems, and the most accessible way to do that and help the future is through code. So I started clacking away at keys. Been doing that for, I don't know, too long, a couple of years, plus or minus. And looking forward to getting after it with the group here and do something bigger than just making a to-do, you know?
There you go. Thanks, Greg. Is it G?
Also like long
go ahead.
walks on the beach, small fluffy dogs, and cheap white wine.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Is G, is that Janine?
Yes, Luke, it is.
Oh,
How are
okay.
you?
Good. So Janine can skip the introduction because she's here in like a mentor capacity.
Sorry, a little late.
No, you're all right. So Brian.
What's up, Luke? How's it going? So we spoke a couple of times, and you pretty much know my background, but of course I'll let everybody else know as well. So I've been in retail sales for years, wanting to get myself out. I just actually got married last month, and I got myself into trying to do a new career change as of last year. Went into a boot camp, graduated from it, trying to look around for a job, got nothing, pretty much. And once you came up with this idea, I felt it would be interesting for me to contribute to something, and of course learn from everybody else as well. So I look forward to seeing what's going on. And as far as I like backend more than anything. It's just a little bit easier. Not the best at doing CSS. So, but yeah, that's pretty much that.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. Zach. And I know Zach as well a little bit. Good to see you again.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi, I'm Zach. I have almost 10 years of programming experience. 3 of those years were professionally with a company, with a small startup. And then the last 2 years, I've kind of been self-employed, developing for myself. kind of looking to work with a team again. I've been looking for jobs. It hasn't been so successful, but I'm gonna keep pushing. Yeah, I just wanted to come check this out and see if this could go anywhere. I do full stack, React, Node. I also know some Python and AWS. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Zach. Silas, I don't know. Did you join after we started, Silas? We're just sharing how long, how much training you've done in software, tech stack, how you got started, and that's it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
All right. So I got into software. Well, actually, several years ago, I had an interest in software, but I kind of got away from it. And I believe it was like September 2020. I was at visiting an old high school friend, and we were talking about his work as a software engineer. And he said, you know, what are you doing, man? At the time, I was doing construction with my parents. My parents are self-employed. They own a commercial construction company, and I was a superintendent for them, and I still am in some capacity. I'm not there all the time anymore. I just kind of do some part-time work. But he's like, "What are you doing, man? You know like all this stuff that I'm talking about. Why don't you get into software?" And I kind of just thought about that for the next couple weeks, and I decided to go through some web courses. I believe it was Treehouse front end I started with. And I've just been kind of working my way, you know, skill by skill through just learning as I go, doing a little bit of freelance work, and I just started recently networking on LinkedIn and getting to know people.
Right on. Junior Sanita? Sanita? I'm butchering that, I'm sure. If you want to share something about yourself, go ahead. And if you're talking, you're on mute. We'll give you a second here. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. Okay. All right. So thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. Like you know, the purpose of this is really like there's a lot of people who have gained software skills recently. The market started going down in this industry, and hiring for junior positions has kind of slowed down considerably, right? So there are a lot of people in the situation of I have just gotten these software skills. I want my first job, but it's really hard to get your first job right now. So the logical thing to do, at least to try to do in this situation, is to group these like people together and have them try to, you know, build their own company, their own money-making software solution, right? So that, you know, you're going to be building on your own anyway, right? So why not do it with other people and see if maybe something can come out of it? So that's the idea. So what's going to happen now? So I've got this spreadsheet going. Hopefully you all have seen it. Some people have started filling it out. I'll put it in the chat here. If you haven't filled it out, please do. But this is how I'm going to break people into teams, right? So having, you know, your email and your experience level and tech stack are probably the things that I need to then split people into teams. My thought is keep the team small so that, you know, it's easier to contribute, you know, I think smaller is better. So I'm thinking 5 people per team, somewhere with that being the goal, right? So if it's more or less, not a big deal. But so that's the document I'll use to split people into teams. I will send a group email to everyone who's on a team. So let's say Devin, Donya, Greg, Silas, Zach, and Chris are on the team, right? I'll send those 5 people an email, say, hey, this is your team. Go ahead, get started. And that's really all you need at that point is like, okay, these are the people I am now trying to come up with an idea to build a money-making app with. So you guys will coordinate on your own, you know, whether you meet or just do it via email, whatever, you know, start brainstorming project ideas like, hey, you know, in the case of Anne, for instance, she has a wealth of experience in this industry, and she probably can come up with, you know, 5 or 6 different project ideas for, hey, this is something I think we could build, it's achievable, and it would potentially make money. So everybody, you know, contributes their ideas, and then you guys pick one as a team, and then you start building. One person, I would suggest, creates a repo and then adds the others as contributors. So like, let's say you're using GitHub, you would start a repo, add the other people as contributors, and then everybody starts building. And then, you know, I would say take your time with the picking an idea portion. You know, if it took you a week to figure something out, I think that's probably the most important step. Because, you know, there's the risk you're going to try to pick something that's too difficult, not achievable, right? There's the risk you'll build something that nobody wants to use. There's the risk, you know, the person who, I don't know, there's, it's the most important step. So I would say take your time with that, really get all your ideas out there, talk through them. You know, if the group's like, okay, we all like this idea, then maybe take some time talking about like the risks involved with picking that one, you know, some of the software challenges that you're going to run into, so that when you go into it, everybody has their eyes wide open on what is it going to take and how do we get there. Okay, other things you'll want to talk about. How do we contribute, right? So pull requests, you guys have all probably, you know, worked in a team in some capacity. So you're aware of like, okay, you do a PR, it gets merged in, other people have to pull that code so that then they have it on their machine. If they have changes that conflict, how do you deal with those? So do we merge at will, or do we require people to get an approval before they merge in? That sort of thing. How are you going to manage the work? So are you guys just going to set up a Google Doc or Google spreadsheet, excuse me, that says like, hey, these are the things we're trying to do. Who's going to take that one? Or do you use like a project management board like Trello? You know, hopefully something free so that people don't have to spend their money. Okay, in the event you do make money on an app, you should probably have talked beforehand about, okay, when money comes in, how does it get distributed? Does it go evenly to all the people in the team? Do we set some aside for reinvesting in the business? And then if people have dropped off, like stopped contributing, do they still get a share? So you guys just as a team decide what you think is fair, and just try to be clear so that, you know, in the event you do make money, it doesn't, you know, wind up being an issue. You want to pick a group leader. So this is something, I'm not hard and fast on this, as like, this is what we should do. But my thought was, you know, teams, once they got together, would assign a leader who would then contact me, and all the team leaders and I would meet maybe on like a bi-weekly basis or something, so that the teams can support each other, you know, learn from each, you know, struggles they're going through, that sort of thing. And then just kind of to check in, see how things are going. But, you know, if people didn't want to do that, not a big deal. You know, I know finding times that work with people's schedules can be difficult. And that's one thing I had mentioned to Janine, was that like, hey, if you wanted to contribute as a mentor, potentially you could do some of those meetings with the group leaders. So we'll keep that as like, that's what's going to happen. And then if, you know, your group decides to opt out of that, no big deal. Okay. I think the last thing to say is just, you know, we don't know each other very well. So don't give people your bank account information or your credit card information, or, you know, if you have personal projects that have, you know, secret keys in them or something that you don't want people having access to, just be careful. You know, as you guys get to know each other better, still don't share that stuff with each other. But, you know, yeah, anyway, just be safe, be careful, be smart. But, you know, I have high hopes that some good relationships will come out of this, and maybe even some money-making project ideas. So I think that is all I have. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions, any ideas that they want to float out there?
This is Janine. You'll see me as G everywhere, but it's me. And I think this is an awesome idea. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes. I've had a fair amount of experience just recently where I was open to part-time jobs as somebody with 23 years of experience in the field. And when I had a recruiter that had reached out to me, and he was willing to bring on one of the junior dev that I was tutoring full-time with me part-time as an advisor and a project manager. And we spent about 8 months like that, and they just hired on my junior developer full-time for the company because that junior developer, there was somebody to mentor that junior developer while he was getting paid. And this is a strategy that has worked. If you can find the recruiters and the companies to hire that have an open enough mindset to help, to be open to doing something like that. And I don't know whether I'm going to be able to replicate it, but I'm hoping that working with this crew, we might be able to come up with stuff like that.
Cool. Thanks, Janine. I'll just keep it open for another minute or so. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts about how it could change? The process I've laid out, anything like that? Okay, hearing nothing, I will probably give it till the end of the day, I'm thinking. And then I'll take that list of people who have filled out the spreadsheet, and I'll break people into teams, and you should see an email from me tomorrow telling you what team you're on. Bye, guys.
Nice one. Thanks very much, Luke.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, Janine.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye everyone.